Okay. So in your mind, putting that pack on and covering miles, what were the things that jumped out to you that were different per se from the Shadowlight?
Well, one of the biggest things that, you notice right up front is that mesh pocket that's on the back. The Shadowlight has 2 deep stretch mesh pockets on either side of a center zip that goes all the way down the backpack. And that's good and bad for some people on the Shadowlight, depending on what your preference is and how you pack. The CS40 just has one very large stretch mesh pocket. And that was something that I really utilized and enjoyed on the Uintah Highline this year. Being able to put things in the back there that needed to dry, or if there were layers that I needed to grab throughout the day, if it's maybe going to have some rain later, it'd be great to just put my rain jacket back there where it was easily accessible. And that's one thing that really stood out to me that was different. The other thing was the capacity. This pack is not designed to fit, anything and everything plus the kitchen sink. It's not a huge pack as far as capacity goes. But I did find that what we've been saying this whole time, what Tayson and Brigham has mentioned, rang true. If you know your gear and you know what you need and you've got your base weight pretty dialed in, you had more than enough space for the trip. And so on this particular trip throughout the Uintah Highline, I was paying attention to that specifically and how I felt about just the amount of space I had. And I did find that at this point where I'm at with backpacking, I did not need any more. I didn't need any more space, even with 6 days worth of food in that pack along with my base weight gear. So
what about like we've really been known for, the Shadowlight's really known for its comfort. It's comfort on trail, it's load carry. Any differences in how this one carried for you?
Yeah, actually. I did enjoy the CS40 a little bit more. I love the Shadowlight. It's a really comfortable pack. But the CS40, I think, is a little bit next level for me as far as comfort. I really enjoyed the hip belts on the CS40. One thing is I don't really have a huge hip or waist size. And I was always feeling like I was maxing out other hip belts. And this one I actually was able to have a
I think we should rephrase that to minning out. You weren't
I
necessarily...
was maxing it out. Minning
is that
out.
A word?
Is that a word?
Minning out the hip belt.
This one I felt like we had enough versatility and adjustability in the hip belts and in the shoulder straps with the load lifters that I could really dial in the fit really, really well. And I think just the way that the foam sat and the shape of the shoulder straps in general, I don't know right now if I could really pin it down to any one thing, but I do think that overall I was pretty impressed with how comfortable the shoulder strap and hip belt system work together.
Yeah. I think for you, what I'll just add on to what Derek just said right there is we did a lot of prototypes with the shoulder straps, harnesses, I came back to Brigham a lot of times. I'm sure he was getting sick of me saying, I can still feel a little bit here, a little bit there. And we just micro adjusted this harness in to be incredibly, incredibly comfortable. But one of the things that I noticed right away going from the Shadowlight to this one was the frame itself and how it rode. And the frame is different. It's not the same as the Shadowlight. And it gives you a different feel per se. And I really like the feel of this particular frame, the way that it kind of molds to the body. The amount of give versus stiffness to me is really dialed in, and I really enjoy just the comfort of the stiffness of the frame and or the comparing it to the Shadowlight, maybe the lack of stiffness. I don't know how to say that properly, but it's got the right amount of give, and I noticed that. I think that's something that the users will pick up almost right away is how well it load transfers, but isn't overly aggressive, if that makes sense.
The balance is different on the load transfer and the frame stiffness.